Welcome to Detailing with Mark. Today I'm reviewing this 2015 BMW i8. Okay, so let's get in. It's not as challenging as a Lamborghini, but you can see it's got these dihedral doors, which are pretty interesting. They don't open that high, so it's a little bit of a gymnastics routine to get in, but not too bad. Let's see how I do. There we go. In. All right, driving the i8. Let's start her up. Release the e-brake. We are off. So you start off in electric mode. Obviously, if you can hear that, there's no engine yet. So we start off in electric. Looks like our washer fluid is low. We'll survive. Okay, so we are off. So first off, if you've driven any modern BMW, this will feel very familiar. The gauge cluster is digital and a bit different, but everything from the shifter to the start-stop button, the iDrive, the screen, everything is very familiar and a lot of what you're used to. I've had many F33 series BMWs and I still have one, and I feel right at home in this car. It's almost as comfortable as those. So let's talk comfort. As you saw when I got in, the car is low and wide and you kind of got to do a gymnastics routine to get into it, but once you're into it, it's actually quite comfortable. It feels very BMW. The seats are nice, they're supportive, soft. It's a very, very, very comfortable car to drive. Like I said, as a BMW owner, I feel right at home. I'm not sure if you'd classify this as a supercar per se, but compared to other supercars I've driven, Ferraris, Audi R8s, McLarens, etc., this one has got to be the most comfortable. It's also not as hard-edged a car and performer like those cars are, but the comfort is really good. The ride is firm but supple. When you hit big bumps though, it does kind of launch you out of your seat. So it's kind of a weird mix of ride and comfort. But generally speaking, it's pretty comfortable. You do feel the bumps, but I think they're pretty well controlled, as is a BMW hallmark, you know, great ride handling combination. You definitely feel the bumps though at low speeds. If you're going really fast and you hit a sizable bump, it'll launch you out of your seat. The car does bob and weave a bit when you hit big bumps, but you know, it's doable. So let's talk handling. We're coming into some bends here. The handling is actually pretty sharp, given that it's only got 215 tires up front and 245s in the rear. Pretty thin by supercar standards. Obviously this car is a hybrid with a focus on efficiency, and the narrower tires help a lot with just rolling resistance, wind resistance, and efficiency. But you can see here I'm diving into some turns about 15 miles over the speed limit, and now we're 20 miles over. It feels great. As is typical with the BMW, it handles securely. There's not a lot of body roll. The handling is quite good. I've actually pushed it into a few really hard bends and it gripped without any worry. Tires didn't slip or anything. So the handling, I think, is really great. So talking about the efficiency, so this is a hybrid. You have an electric motor up front and a 1.5 liter 3-cylinder turbo gas engine in the back. The engine is a mini engine, I believe, that's been tuned further. The combination creates great efficiency. So just in my couple days with the car and driving, doing some definitely spirited driving at times, I'm returning well into the 30 mile per gallon range, which is fantastic. A lot of times when you're creeping around town, you're on electric only, which obviously saves gas. So When you get on the throttle, it obviously employs both motors to give you maximum power, but if you've got the battery charge, you're on battery power a lot of the time around town, and then the gas engine will kick in. On the highway, it seems like it's gas engine with electric assist if you need it. So no matter where you're driving or how you're driving, it's really, really efficient. You're getting great fuel economy. It's a plug-in hybrid too, so if you don't want to rely on the gas engine charging your battery, you can just plug it in and charge the battery that way, which I did last night. Pretty simple. As far as noise, it's pretty quiet at low speeds. It gets noisier at high speeds, but this is a very silent car for a quote-unquote supercar. I think it's very silent, very serene. You'll see in a little bit when you get on the highway. This thing cruises just beautifully, peacefully on the highway. At any speed, it's just drama-free. It sounds crazy with a car like this, but this car is a great road trip car. I mean, on the highway at speed, it's just wonderful. So smooth, so quiet, so balanced, just excellent. So let's talk about the power. So on paper, this has 357 horsepower, 420 foot-pounds of torque. So let me put my foot in it a little bit here. We're doing about 35-ish. Let me hit it. Oh yeah. So it's got a really good surge of mid-range power. I mean, you can just see we doubled our speed in just a few seconds. I don't know that it feels like 420 foot-pounds of torque. I mean, for comparison, I had a Tesla a few weeks ago I reviewed. It's got less torque, although it's all electric, so the torque hits all at once. That felt way more torquey to me, but you know, I think BMW does a really great job of blending the power of this car where it doesn't feel kind of extreme at any point. I think it's pretty seamlessly done. So the car moves, don't get me wrong. When you put your foot into it, the car really moves. There's definitely like a second delay before things get really interesting. But once the gas engine kicks down, the electric motors are spooled up, this thing takes off pretty quickly. So it's rated at about 0 to 60 in 4.4, 4.1, depending on which publication you check. And, you know, that's quick enough, I think, especially given the efficiency that this gives you. On the highway, it's especially quick feeling. Here we are at low speeds. These lane markers, you really feel the bumps at low speeds. It's interesting. It smooths out at higher speeds, but at low speeds, you really feel those bumps, man. Oh, yes. Yes. So when I picked up the car, the battery charge was really low. So I feel like I wasn't getting all the electric motor, but I charged it last night and I'm getting lots of thrust today. So the car feels noticeably quicker. All right, let's do a 0 to 60 run. Traction control off. Okay, here we go. So what you do is foot on the brake, foot on the gas, release the brake. Woo! Yeah, there's 60. So, you know, not crazy fast, but it moves. It moves pretty well. It launches pretty well too. You know, so one thing I noticed driving this around is it's only got about 18 miles of battery range, and as you're getting on the throttle, the battery is assisting you and giving you great acceleration, and that wears down the battery pretty quickly. It's not that long before the battery's down to only 2 to 3 miles of range, and I don't think it's kicking in the maximum power, but the acceleration still feels pretty good. All right, let's kick it into sport mode, which in this car, you kick the stick to the left, and that puts it into sport mode. As you can see, the gauges just turned red, so we're in 4 now. All right, let's try some mid-range. Once we get past this cyclist here, gotta be safe. All right, let's drop it down to the 3rd gear. Ooh, there we go. All right, we're down in 3rd. So, let's see here, we'll give it a little gas in sport. Oh yeah. Yes. Nice. Yeah, sport mode definitely has better throttle response. In fact, let's try a 0 to 60 run in sport mode if we can here. Let's see. Here we go. Brake, gas. Woo! So I don't know that there's a huge difference between acceleration, like 0 to 60, between sport mode and just comfort mode, but sport mode in general though is much quicker. I think the downshifts, it does blip downshifts, and I think it upshifts a lot quicker. So sport mode is definitely quicker all around, as with any BMW. The 0 to 60 launch, I'll have to look back at the video footage, but I didn't feel like there was a ton of difference in the 0 to 60 launch, whether it was sport mode or comfort. There's an eco mode as well, which, as you know from other BMWs, dulls the throttle response a bit. And you know, it's fine. I think if you want to be fuel efficient, it's great for that. If you want to kind of chill and just crawl along, I think it's good for that. Still decent power as well due to the electric motors. We're cruising along this country road here at 58 miles per hour. The car is just beautiful. It's so composed, so quiet, and it's just a wonderful place to be. It's really, really comfortable. I really, really enjoy this car. So I would say this, I mean, if you were to buy one of these new, which I don't recommend anyone buy a new BMW, I've owned 4 and I bought them all used, they depreciate heavily, so it's always a good idea to buy used, but make sure they have reasonable mileage, obviously. So I think it's good to buy a BMW 3 to 4 years old with maybe 30,000 miles on it. If you're buying a used BMW with 100,000 miles, you may be in for some maintenance costs. All right, let's head into some bends here. So this is the 35 mile per hour turn. We're doing 58 or so. I mean, this car just sticks like glue. It's great. So nimble, a little bit of body roll. Let's see this one, sweeper. Oh, there we go. All right, definitely felt the G-forces, but I was doing almost double the speed recommended, and this car just feels very confident. A little bit of body roll, you feel the tires grip, and there was no slip, but you could feel like, they might be getting close. Still though, I think this thing is a really competent handler for what it is. One more 0 to 60. Woo! Woohoo! Yeah! So anytime you're cruising along, when you give it just a touch of gas, I mean, the electric motors just whoosh to life and carry you forward. A lot of times the gas engine isn't even summoned because the electric motors can pretty much handle everything you need. So it's been said a lot by people, not just of this car, but modern BMWs. The steering is electric. It's a bit light feeling. So if you can watch here, so as I move the wheel, there's a bit of an on-center dead spot. You can see I'm moving the wheel quite a bit, not really moving the car, but you know, once you dip into it an inch or two, the car moves. So it's pretty light feeling at all speeds. It firms up at high speeds. As you get to higher highway speeds, it definitely firms up, but overall, yeah, I would say that this steering is pretty light. That doesn't bother me, but it does bother some people, especially with a quote-unquote supercar like this. They're looking for a heavy steering, very secure. I mean, the handling is very precise. The car goes where you put it. It's extremely precise, but yeah, it is light, no doubt about it. If you're paying $150,000 new for this car, I don't think it's worth it, but thanks to the beauty and magic of BMW depreciation, you can pick these cars up with reasonable miles in the $50,000, $60,000 range. Obviously, with low miles, it's a lot more expensive than that. But if you're willing to have some miles on it, you can find them in the 50 to 60K range, which I think is amazing. This is a lot of car for that money. It really is. I mean, I'm seriously thinking about if I'd like one of these at that price. Obviously, at the new money, you could buy an Audi R8 or something really wild, but used, I think the depreciated values are just so reasonable. This would make a great car for you and one other person. As you probably saw from the video walkthrough at the beginning, the back seats understandably are quite small. You definitely can't get a car seat back there, so it's more for toddlers who are, you know, it's more for kids who are maybe like 4 or 5 years old, no longer in a car seat, able to sit in a regular seat, but even that would be tight back there. So you can't open the trunk. You can't really open the front hood. It's not meant to be opened, and there's no storage space up there. Really, the only storage space is a small trunk in the back behind where the engine sits, and then obviously the back seats can be used for storage. That's about it. So, you know, it's a great car for 1 or 2 people. Like, I would love this as my everyday daily driver. Just for me, as a family car, or for several people, it's just not practical. But, you know, I don't think it's designed to be. good. As I'm sure you've heard, the engine sound is kind of piped in, it's synthetic. You can definitely hear it coming through the speakers. Obviously a 3-cylinder 1.5 liter engine isn't going to make the most magical sounds, but whatever BMW is piping in, I think sounds wonderful. I think it's a really cool sound. It's throaty. Yeah, it's fake, but over time you forget that it's fake and you just kind of enjoy the experience for what it is. Let's test out the brakes since this BMW pulled out right in front of me. Thank you. I'm a BMW driver, so I can't I can't find too much fault with that, but the brakes are good. They're touchy initially, but they bite really well. I think they're very similar to a lot of modern BMW brakes. Excellent stopping power, very progressive. These are touchier, in my opinion, at first than other BMWs, including my 3 Series, but very progressive, very confidence inspiring, very light pedal feel as well. So I think the brakes are excellent. So would I buy one of these? Well, as I said, at the sticker price new, no way, absolutely no way. In the 50s or 60s, absolutely. As my own personal daily driver, I'm gonna consider this car. I mean, there's a lot of great cars in that price range, but this car is really cool. I love BMWs, so I'm biased, obviously. This to me, if I was to describe this to someone, I wouldn't say, hey, if you're Ferrari shopping, you should check out the i8. I would say, you know, this is like a much cooler, lower, wider, a little bit faster 3 Series. I think if you pitch it that way, the car is awesome. Let's check the turning radius here. It's okay, not great, not exotic car by any means, but not bad. So visibility out the front obviously is good. Out the back, as you might be able to see in the mirror there, it's not that great. There's this tiny rear window. The C-pillars are just massive in this car, just massive, but it's not really causing me any issues. Between the side mirrors and then when you're backing up, there's so many camera angles, you have excellent visibility. So I don't feel the super thick C-pillars are a huge kind of detractor, but you know, no car of this type has amazing visibility. So if you were expecting that, you probably shouldn't be. I think it's fine for what it is, honestly. Again, just cruising at 50 miles an hour here. So quiet, so serene until you hit bumps, then you can really hear and feel them. But this is just such a smooth, quiet car. It's a great cruising machine, it really is. I don't know that it was designed for that purpose, but I love to just cruise, especially on the weekends, go out and de-stress and cruise, get on the highway, just put it on cruise control and take a nice long road trip. This car is perfect for that, man, oh man. All right, let's have some fun. Let's merge onto the highway and have some fun. So we'll take this on-ramp pretty fast. Oh yeah, I'm doing about 30, 35-ish. Oh yeah, feel the G-forces. Man, this thing sticks beautifully. Woo! Oh yeah, getting a little dizzy here. No slip, and then let's hit it. Boom. Yeah. Woo! Oh yeah. That makes merging onto the freeway seem so unbelievably easy. So we're on the highway 83 cruising. This car is so stable, so quiet, and just so smooth. And when you give it gas, the electric motors really kick in. You just soar in this thing at highway speeds. It's just effortless to maintain a high speed and pass cars. Absolutely effortless. I love it. Back to the freeway we go. Woo! All right, let's see what you can do. Woo. Oh, the sound of this car is definitely intoxicating. It definitely grows on you. Fake or not, I like this. I like this. We are back in sport mode, which sounds fantastic. All BMWs obviously are very happy to drive and fun to drive in sport mode. This one is no exception. And the sport mode actually puts more into the battery. So if you want to charge the battery up a bit, the sport mode seems to rely more on the gas engine, which is not only great for power, but it helps you put more energy back into the battery so that when you need the electric motor, you've got all the power. Sport mode definitely livens up the exhaust. As you can probably hear, I mean, even at half throttle, the exhaust is much louder, much throatier, which is fantastic. The shifts are quicker. It revs the engine higher, the gas engine, just like it would in any other modern BMW in sport mode. I love driving my 335 in sport mode. It's just really brings the car to life. Let's give it a little gas in sport mode here. Oh yeah, oh, that just pulls beautifully, my gosh. I am falling in love with this car more and more every minute. I really do not want to give this back. I'm driving it to give it back right now. I really don't want to give it back. I legitimately have come to love this car. I really have. You know, I say that, and then I'll go run something else cool, and then fall in love with that one and forget about this one. But in the moment, I really love this car. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If so, I'd love a thumbs up. Always appreciate comments, and subscribe if you don't want to miss any of my future videos. Thanks again, and we'll see you on the next one.